Hi guys, I'm Rita from Rita's Treasures, and today we are doing something a little bit different from my normal. So as you can tell, this is not a DIY. If you're interested in checking out my DIYs, they will be linked above. But anyways, today I am doing more so an introductory video, and it'll explain what my channel is going to be about as well as who I am. So this channel is going to be all about living holistically, or holistic living. And to kind of explain what holistic living is, let's take a look at the actual word holistic. Holistic is derived from whole. So we are going to be looking at our lives as a whole and acknowledging and evaluating ourselves as a whole. Because any part of our life that there's an imbalance, other areas are going to be imbalanced because everything is tight knit and interconnected in our lives. And to further go along with that, there are 5 core aspects of holistic living. So 5 core aspects that make up you. First one is one that you've probably already heard a million times over, because from what I found when I was looking on media and articles, when they talk about holistic living, they mostly pay attention to your physical well-being. Whether you're working out, what are you putting into your body? But they're missing like the 4 other important aspects, because all of these connect. They're missing the mental well-being, the emotional well-being, the social well-being, and spiritual well-being. All of those make up your holistic living or your holistic well-being. So we're going to be taking a look into all of them, because if there's any slight imbalance in any of them, all the other ones are going to have an issue as well, because they are so tight knit and so interconnected. You have just no idea. So I am going to be shedding light on those different aspects and really what to do if one of them is imbalanced. So I'm going to be laying a foundation as well as giving you tools to help you figure out yourself. And 2 main practices that I will be going over that's going to be helping you with your holistic living journey are meditation and mindfulness. These 2 are so important. So important. So let's start with meditation. So I'm laughing because meditation, you're probably in your head like, ugh, I don't want to do this. Meditation, ugh. And honestly, I had the same reaction. Because in my mind, when I first was learning, or before I even learned about meditation, the technique, and what all goes into it, I had in my mind's eye like the Buddhist monk. I mean, who doesn't think about the Buddhist monk when you think about meditation? How they sit in silence and they do it for hours, and they'll just sit and meditate, which is pretty awesome now that I'm like in it and practicing it. It's pretty awesome when I think about it now, but it just sounds so boring in the beginning, and that's because you haven't trained your mind to meditation, and we'll get all into that too going forward. The other M is mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is something that is becoming super popular. It's mentioned almost everywhere now, which is amazing in my opinion, because in the beginning of when I was working, I had never heard of, mindfulness, and I'll get into that in a moment, but it's amazing. It's everywhere now. Your job might be actually putting out newsletters about mindfulness, and I've noticed insurance companies have started talking about mindfulness. I've even noticed a dentist office talking about mindfulness, which is really interesting. So some doctors' offices are starting to talk about mindfulness. And the general definition that's attached to mindfulness is being present in the present moment, which is true. But it's a very generic, roundabout way of summing up what mindfulness is. And there's so much more to mindfulness than that. In fact, when I think of mindfulness, I think of the movie. I don't know if you guys have seen Shrek. It's like one of my husband's favorites. But Shrek was in the carriage with the donkey and just talking to him and basically telling him that basically he's like an onion. He has many layers. Well, that's mindfulness. Mindfulness is kind of like an onion. There's so many layers to mindfulness as well. Sorry, I'm thinking about the scene. But there's so many layers to mindfulness. And so that generic definition that they put out there, being present in the present moment, it's a layer to mindfulness. It's part of it, but it's not the whole thing. And so I want to take some time and dive into mindfulness, lay that sturdy foundation for you guys, and then go into how to go practice it and some of the other some other foundations and tools. Because I'm going to, most importantly, throughout everything, I will be giving you tools on how to go forward and utilize a lot of the things that I'm going to be teaching you. Because in general, with holistic living and practicing mindfulness, it is all about getting to know yourself. So mindfulness is all about, being in the present moment. But there's so many things that distract us from being in that present moment. And one of the things you might have seen in like your jobs newsletters is distractions. That's like a big portion of not being able to be in the present moment. And they more so gear distractions towards technology, being on your phone, putting your phone away, social media and all of that, which is true. That is a pretty big distraction for a lot of people. But that's not the only distraction. And some people don't realize that there's another distraction is you yourself. You can put away your phone and in social media. You can get off of that. But if you're not in a correct mental space, you are going to be your own distraction. And what I mean by that is your past and thinking about the future. So with mindfulness, it's being able to identify that right there is a problem. That right there is causing these reactions and acknowledging it. And once we acknowledge that that problem exists, then we can go ahead and craft the solution to deal with it and get to the other side to keep moving forward. So we can keep moving past the past and it won't have such a groundbreaking reaction from us in the future. That is another example of a distraction that we have. And it's a powerful one because, like I said, we can put away the technology. We can put away external distractions. Our internal ones is the biggest issue. And it's not going to be easy. It takes a lot of determination and a lot of practicing and repetition for us to be able to get past it. But I think it's really worthwhile. It really is. I'm speaking from experience on this front. It's really worthwhile and it's worth it. Worth every effort that you put into it. So that's one other distraction. And then also thinking about the future. That's really a society thing. That's just all about changing your mindset. Because we are always taught to have goals that aim to the future, and we're so caught up with these goals and looking to the future that once we meet one goal, once we get to that one future that we envision, we get on to the next one instead of just reveling in the present with it. Really, guys, it might sound like that I'm putting a lot of information out there in this video. I am just touching the surface. It is so deep. Think of that Shrek's onion. Think of that onion. There's so many different layers to it. And just like an onion, when you're cutting open and going in between the layers, sometimes it's not going to be pleasant. But after you finish going through the layers and you're preparing your onion, if you like onions, if you like to cook them or eat them raw, but you get to the reprieve, you get to that euphoria once it's finished. And that is what I want for each and every person watching that. I want you to get to that safe spot. I want you to get to the spot where your past and issues and distractions, like you can be in the present. You can be in the present. You can enjoy your present. And that's what I really want for all of you, each and every person listening. So if any of this resonated with you, if you liked anything I'm sharing, please like this video hit the subscribe button and a notification bell. I will be posting every Tuesday and Thursday, and it's going to be really good information. So just stick around, and we're going to get to that place. And before I end, actually, forgot. So caught up in talking about all of that and holistic living. I have so much passion for it. But a little bit about myself. So, as you already know, I have been calling myself Rita. Rita is a nickname that I have. My brother actually gave me this nickname years ago. And honestly, it just kind of stuck with me. Rita's Treasures. Has a nice ring to it, don't you think? But my name is actually Maria. My name is Maria Jones. And I have graduated from pharmacy school with a doctorate degree. Hampton University, the real HU, for those that know what I'm referring to. But I graduated with a doctorate in pharmacy, so I am a doctor. I don't currently right now practice as a pharmacist, but I do have experience of working in a retail setting as well as clinical, so clinical hospitals and clinics. With retail, what retail is basically just like your CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, whatever those other type of stores. I hit the main three, get the gist. I worked there for years. And then I have worked in more of a clinical setting as a clinical pharmacist. So I actually worked in a clinic in a hospital where I had appointments with patients. Just like how a doctor has appointments with their patients, I had appointments as well, one-on-one sessions. And I looked at patients' medical history, I looked at their lab work, their blood work, and looked at their medications just to see how their medications are working for them. And if there is an issue with the medication, getting down to figure out what is the problem with their medication. And it's sometimes not always the medication either. It could have been something going on with them in their personal life. It's actually kind of funny because when I was looking into, holistic living and mindfulness and everything, I realized that throughout, especially with my clinical work, throughout meeting with patients, I practiced holistic living with them. And it was actually a really beautiful thing. I realized that not everybody gives the same type of, service to people. And I was going a little bit above and beyond by incorporating more of a holistic living mindset when I would approach issues with patients. And it's really heartwarming. Like when I was reading up on these, and I was like, oh, I've been practicing this stuff with them. Not necessarily with myself. I took on, dealing with myself or practicing with myself, but I did it with them. And maybe that's why I had such a great turnaround when it came to my patients. So I also have a master's in business administration as well. And really, that's not going to be applied to this channel. Is what I'm going to be applying is more so my medical background, as well as through my own independent research and stuff that I have done with patients and stuff that I have done personally. I'm going to be sharing with you all what has worked for me, what hasn't worked for me, because what hasn't worked for me, it could work for you. And what's worked for me maybe might not work for you. So I'm going to be showing you and sharing with you everything because everybody is different. Everybody's mind is different. Over the course of time and working with you all on this, one thing I definitely want to explain and want everybody to understand is that this is going to take time. It's going to take dedication. It's going to take repetition. Oh my gosh, it's going to take so much repetition. And I don't want you to feel discouraged. But it is. It's going to take repetition. And I'd rather be upfront with you on that because it's going to take time to really see the difference. Because essentially what we are going to be working on is the brain. You've been doing habits. You've been having these habits and you've been doing things a certain way for years. No matter how old you are, however old you are, that's how long you've been doing things. And your brain has memorized that. And so what we're doing is we're working to rewire our brain and break those habits. So we're going to be working with the brain. And it's going to take a lot of repetition to rework that brain. So anyways, I cannot wait. So excited. If you like this content, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. This is for you. I'm here for you to help you get to where you need to go and be the best version of yourself. So hit that notification bell, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.